We're on to the final part of this rather exciting chapter 9. Torak has won the fight for his life, and now we'll find out, was Ren actually helping him, or has she perhaps got another plan in mind? The boy won, said Finkedin, releasing his grip on Torak. Torak shook himself and wiped the sweat from his face as he watched Horde resheathing his knife. Horde was furious, though whether with himself or with Torak it was impossible to tell. Dirati put a hand on his arm, but he shook it off angrily and pushed his way through the others, disappearing into one of the shelters. Now that the bloodlust had left him, Torak felt shaky and sick. He sheathed his knife and looked round for his things. Then he saw Finkedin watching him. "You broke the rule," the Raven leader said calmly. "You used fire." "No, I didn't," said Torak. He sounded a lot more confident than he felt. "I didn't use fire. I used steam." "I would have preferred it," said Finkedin, if you'd used water instead of broth. That was a waste of good food." Torak did not reply. Finkedin studied him, and for a moment there was a gleam of humour in his blue eyes. Oslak pushed through to them, with the bag containing Wolf in his arms. "Here's that cub of yours," he boomed, tossing the bag at Torak with a force that made him stagger. Wolf squirmed and licked Torak's chin and told him how awful it had been, all at once. Torak wanted to say something comforting, but stopped himself. It would be stupid to slip up now. "The law's the law," Finkedin said briskly. "You won. You're free to go." "No!" a girl's voice rang out, and all heads turned. It was Ren. "You can't let him go," she cried, running forward. "He just has," retorted Torak. "You heard him. I'm free." Ren spoke to her uncle. "We can't let him go. This is too important. He might be—" She drew Finkedin aside, whispering urgently. Torak couldn't make out what she was saying, but to his dismay others drew closer to listen. The mage scowled and nodded. Even Horde emerged from the shelter, and when he heard what they were saying, he gave Torak a strange, wary stare. Finkedin studied Ren thoughtfully. "Are you sure about this?" "I don't know," she said. "Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. We need time to find out." Finkedin stroked his beard. "What makes you suspect—" "The way he defeated Horde, and I found this in his things." She held out a palm, and Torak saw his little grouse bone whistle. "What do you use it for?" she asked him. "For calling the cub," he replied. She blew on it, and Wolf twisted in his arms. A shiver of unease ran through the crowd. Ren and Finkedin exchanged glances. "It doesn't make any noise," she said accusingly. Torak did not reply. He realized with a jolt that her eyes were not light blue like her brother's, but black, black as a peat pool. He wondered if she was a mage too. She turned to Finkedin. "We can't let him go till we know for sure." "She's right," said the mage. "You know what it says as well as I do. Everyone does." What says?" pleaded Torak. "Finkedin, we had a pact. We agreed that if I won the fight, me and Wolf would go free." "No," said Finkedin. "We agreed that you would live, and so you shall. At least for now. Oslak, tie him up again." "No!" shouted Torak. Ren raised her chin. "You said your father was killed by a bear. We know about that bear. Some of us have even seen it." Beside her, Horde shuddered and began to gnaw his thumbnail. About a moon ago it came, Wren went on quietly. Like a shadow it darkened the forest, killing wantonly, even killing other hunters, wolves, and lynx. It was as if it was searching for something. She paused. Then, 13 days ago, it disappeared. A runner from the Boar clan tracked it south. We thought it had gone. We gave thanks to our clan guardian. She swallowed. Now it's back. Yesterday our scouts returned from the west. They found many kills, right down to the sea. The Whale clan told them that 3 days ago it took a child. Torak licked his lips. What's this got to do with me? There's a prophecy in our clan, said Wren, as if he hadn't spoken. A shadow attacks the forest. None can stand against it. She broke off, frowning. The mage took up her words. Then comes the listener. He fights with air and speaks with silence. Her gaze fell on the whistle in Wren's hand. Everyone was silent, watching Torak. I'm not your listener, he said. We think you might be, replied the mage. Torak thought about the prophecy. The listener fights with air. He had done just that. He had used steam. What happens to him? He asked in a low voice. What happens to the listener in the prophecy? But he had a terrible feeling that he already knew. The silence in the clearing grew more intense. Torak looked from the frightened faces around him to the flint knife at Oslak's belt. He looked at the glistening carcass of the boar hanging from the tree, at its dark blood trickling into the pail beneath. He felt Finn Kedin's eyes on him and turned to face the burning blue gaze. The listener, quoted Finn Kedin, gives his heart's blood to the mountain, and the shadow is crushed. His heart's blood. Under the tree, the blood dripped softly into the basin. Drip, drip, drip. Dun, dun, dun.